Inspired by sound.
Hello, back for another Inspired by Sound video today. This time, 3 for the price of 1. 3 products. Well, two of them are part of the same, which is kind of why I'm talking about a third as well. We're talking about today the Logic Auto Drummer, which the drums in this piece that you're hearing actually are made up of, and the Ravenscroft 275 piano, which is quite nice and also used in this piece. But we're not talking about this piece particularly, by the way. It's just sort of an incidental thing. We're also going to be talking about the studio horns in Logic 10.4 that came out recently. When NAMM hit, we got a free Logic upgrade, which would have been paid for quite happily by a lot of us, I think, and it gave us 2 new instruments, studio strings and studio horns. The reason I'm talking about this product today is because it's very cool and I like it, and for the first time in Logic, as far as I know, there is an instrument that is capable of doing different things when you play different notes, if that makes sense, and if it doesn't, I'll explain more in a minute. But Auto Drum is fascinating as well, and I want to talk about that because these drums are all from that. I didn't play a single note of these drums, and that's fascinating because, you know, as someone who is a MIDI drummer, as you've seen in the previous video, I like doing that. So to get inspiration from other people's work and it be sort of not just MIDI loops but quite free-flowing and it changes, I think that's quite cool. And I don't mind taking inspiration from other people if it then makes me go and do other things I wouldn't have otherwise done. And messing with the autoplay drummer is exactly one of those things. Right, so that's finished. Let's get started. Let's first talk about autoplay drummer and the kind of styles and things that it can do. We'll start with Aiden Indie Pop, and you'll listen to this beat. I've actually got it set up to do a 32 bar loop here, and that's one of the things that it is capable of. And this doesn't actually include any of the changes that you can make to the drummer. This beat is the first thing you get when you open it. It's press down will change to a different thing entirely. This is indie disco. And I'm going to be going through some of these in more detail in a moment, so don't you worry. Gavin Indie Rock. Some of the kits themselves may not be exciting, but the idea is that, you know, a sequencer can play for you while you then go off and do whatever it is you want to do is quite cool to my mind. There is one coming up that I quite like in a minute. That's Garage Rock, apparently. This modern 80s thing. I like this beat. I want to play on top of this beat. I'm going to show you a couple more before we go back to that, but synth pop from Duncan. Yeah. So that's in the alternative category. There are quite a few categories here. There's rock, there's alternative, songwriter, R&B, electronic, hip-hop, percussion, and those are the categories. And then inside those you get other things. So let's take you through some of the electronic stuff just for interest's sake. Magnus Big Room EDM, for example. This is the one that you get when you first load the autoplay drummer, and that's what comes up at first. It takes a little while to load. Tech House by Leo. That's also quite a fun beat. I could see myself putting some like housey piano on that, for example. Jazzper Dubstep. Under the right circumstances, it certainly could be. And of course, there are variations and all sorts of things you can do to make that. So, you know, that might go all kinds of ways. I kind of like that. I don't think I've heard that one before. That's big. Electro Trap from Ronnie. All of the drummers have names by the side of them as well, which is quite interesting, an interesting way of doing it. It gives them, you know, a sense of character. Modern House. And that's the end of the electronic category. So I'm going to take us back now to this alternate one in this 80s thing, because then I want to see, and also for the first time, we're going to see together the kinds of things that can be modified and changed with it. So let me turn off the library so I don't hit it by mistake. So let me hit play on this beat again. And as you notice, the tempos change with the drummers. So this also can inspire and give all sorts of inspiration. Hang on, turn the mic up slightly so you can hear me a bit better until I play, and then I'll turn it down again. So I'm going to go into the auto drummer now, and I'm just having a look around. And there are 8 presets within this one thing. So let's go to the very first and hit play. That's called Boombox. If you go to preset number 2, Dot Matrix. 3, Hot Pink. I quite like that. It's quite minimal, and it would work well with an old sort of Rhodesy type piano type thing, would it not? Hoverboard. Yeah, I like hoverboard as well. That old snare drum just takes me back to old Casio drum machines and whatnot. Laserdisc. Yeah, I could get behind that. Maximum Headroom. That's where we started. Player 1. Ready Player 1 is a book and a film soon, I think. So I've read it. It's quite good. Request Love. Now, which one shall I play with on top of at? Because there's a couple other things you can do once you have a preset that you like that I wanted to talk about. Let's see. Right, let's look at hoverboard then. So next to the presets list, there's an XY pad, and you can drag that around for loudness and quiet reasons. I'm not exactly sure what left and right does, but up and down, when you drag it up and down, will change the intensity of the thing. And that can give you more or less sort of, I don't know, dynamics, if you will, which is quite fun. Then you have drum, instrument and variations, then fills and swing. And if I go into the drum, instruments and variations, there are other groups in here, and the first group is percussion. And it says the first option is shaker, hand clap, and then that's the only 2 things in that group. So if I play this and then check the shaker, it actually adds a clave, which is one of the things I did find about this thing, is that certain things either are mislabeled or not labeled right to voiceover. And I don't know if it's a me thing or an it thing. But in any case, that adds that. If I uncheck the hand clap, then the toms go away. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. This is just what I'm seeing. You can't blame me. I put the hand clap back, which is actually toms. Okay, just go with the flow, guys. It's going to be okay. But there are variations within those. So even though those checkboxes are on or off, there's a variation slider next to that, and it tells me 4 out of 5 variations at the moment. So I'll play the beat again as we know it, and I'll change it to 5 out of 5 variations. The toms have moved up, or was it hand clap? That wasn't. And if I go to variation 1, see, it's changing as we do it. So you can customize, even though it's technically not your work as such. You know, you're making it more yours and less of just the preset that out of the box when you get it. But there's a lot more to go, and I want to show you some fun things. Right, let's see. The next thing again says, there's another percussion sounds group here, and it also says shaker and hand clap. So let me check actually the shaker's checked. I think that one really is the shaker. Yeah, this one actually really is the shaker. So is this one really the hand clap? It might well be, you know. It's also part of the hi-hat track. So this is all trial and error, you know. You just go through it and work out what works and what doesn't. It's very, very fascinating. So we've got 1 out of 5 shaker and hi-hat variations. Let's change it to 2 out of 5 variations. Getting there, guys, getting there. Getting to a point where I can then start to show you what I can play on top of it. 3 out of 5. Try 4 out of 5. Because the beat itself is quite minimal. Sort of minimal. There's all sorts of things. Okay, I found another group of percussion. This one contains tambourine, shaker, and hand clap. Now, does it actually do what it says it does? I've unchecked the tambourine, and the bass drum's gone away. You can't look at me like that. I am not to blame here, I promise. Shaker. What will go away this time? Oh, the snare. Okay. Something's very clearly mislabeled, at least to my to voiceover, which is really quite bizarre. Right. Let's uncheck the hand clap and watch the hi-hats go away. Oh no, the hand clap actually is a hand clap and it was unchecked. Now it's checked. Okay, I have no words. Anyway, that's the last of that. Now, one thing I want to show you, which is quite fun, is there's a follow button, and when you click it, it's a toggle. You pick a track, which it will then follow behind. So I've got it following the piano track. I'm going to go up to the piano track now. Hold on, I'll make sure that the library is not open anymore. It's not. So here is my piano track, and if I play the beat, you've heard this quite a few times now. Okay, that's the first few bars of the beat. Now technically, because I have it following the piano, what happens is when it sees the MIDI data, it tries to play along or make a drum change as I play. So if I play quite softly and quite dynamically perhaps, then it won't make many variations. But if I do lots of runs or crazy things, or when I get to the end of a certain amount of bars, because it's clever enough to know where to insert a fill, then it should actually follow those rules as well. So we see what happens. I'll hit play and see what we can do. So it does seem to vary very slightly, and that's good. I found that different kits do different amounts of variation follow. So if I were to change this kit to something else, even though I've just spent time customizing it, it might work a little differently. So from one of the other subgenres, or other genres, sorry. But that is what that does. So I could put this down and then put some of the brass down, but I haven't talked about the brass yet, the studio horns, and I'm going to do that because I am a fan of what these guys have done here. So, let's say I have a chord, but when you play a chord on a normal instrument, if you've got lots of instruments playing it, every instrument will play that. So you can hear there's quite a few instruments playing those notes. But if I play this chord as a chord, then when one instrument is playing and therefore blowing, other instruments are not necessarily, and therefore will take up the slack. So, and that's, as far as I know, called divisi, and it's very interesting. So it divides the chord that you've played among the instruments in question. Fascinated me when I first came across that a little while ago, and I was very impressed to find out that Logic did this now with certain instruments by default. There are also key switches down here below the octave. I've got to go down one more octave because that's not the first one. So the first one seems just to be long notes. If I press the D, then it goes and fades away. And the E, but does E flat do anything? Yes. Oh no, E does. That's that. F does anything? Yes, short. F sharp doesn't. G. There's a gap, okay, because it must be a different set of switches. Okay, and now you've got to hold them down. These are not latches, but momentary key switches. So A, if I don't hold the A down, and I hold it down, does that. And B flat does nothing. B is faster. C goes up. And D trills. And then you get into the actual playable instruments. So if I set this to one of the longer ones again, like that. I've set it to E at the moment. So I'll go back to the default octave. And I feel like it's a lot of fun to play these because of all of the articulations and options you get within these. It's just fun. So, you know, let me... I could play this beat, even though it's not really the same thing as... do that. And it's different every time because of the order in which you put the notes down. So instead of... different instruments will take up the slack in different orders. So you can have a lot of fun just by messing around. Let me... I've set to longer notes now so I can show you this demo. Here we go. Right, so I've got this beat, as you know. If I play G, D, G, A... But if I play G, A, D, G, it went in a different order. So, depending on how you put your chord down, you can have all kinds of fun, and it's very different. And you can get a lot of enjoyment out of doing these. And this is just one preset called Sugar Hill. If I didn't say, it's in the 7-piece section of the Studio Horns plugin in Logic now. And if you haven't got Logic, then go to someone's house and play with it, or to a music store. And if you have it, and you haven't upgraded from 10.3 to 10.4, then what are you waiting 10.4? Just do it. It's great. And you get a couple other really cool plugins in it as well, which I'll probably talk about in another video. One of them is Chromaverb, which is a very nice new reverb plugin that I like a lot. We sort of discussed the studio strings in another video called Daytime Doodles, if you remember that one. And now I've talked about brass, which is honestly just so much fun to play. I could just play this all day, even if even if you get notes a bit wrong and it doesn't trigger quite the way you think it should. And I got into the key switches there. So you've got to be careful where you play, because that's actually my fault. So it starts E. And goes up to C, I think. Does it go any higher than that? Yeah, but why? There's no need to actually do that. Surely it stops somewhere reasonable. But, yeah. You can sort of start to sound like you're writing either film score or TV music just by messing around. And if you're really good at the chording, which I'm not, by the way, I'm just a generic keyboard player, and you know, like horns, the chords that they would use, you can make it sound really real. See, I am just a fake. Put me in front of MIDI drums, I can do that. Put me in front of guitars or horns, nah, you're out of luck. But I can still enjoy it, and that's really what it's about, isn't it? However, that having been said, I can enjoy a good piano. And here is a great piano, the Ravenscroft 275. 3 for the price of 1 in this video, like I said. I got this recently from audioplugin.deals at $99. It's usually $199. And if you watched my live video the other day, which is not part of this same Inspired by Sound series, you might have heard that Ravenscroft Piano 275 in that. But I was sort of told, quite forcefully by a few people, that I had to do a video about this and what I thought about it. So I'm going to do that in this video as well. So if that's what you've been waiting for, now's your chance. This is actually my own preset, customized for the velocity of the Complete Control S61, and it's got a couple of timbre shifts that I've made, because I like the feel of this, and I use this on stage a lot now. I use this... I play this a great deal on stage. It's a very, very nice piano. It's really well balanced. Has quite glorious sympathetic resonance, even silent strikes. I'll have to turn the keyboard down for you to hear, the mic down for you to hear this. But if I play as softly as I can, and if you listen really closely, you're going to hear some very quiet notes. Listen to this. It's quite hard to trigger those, but yeah, the Ravenscroft 275 is a beast. So, let me tell you about some of the controls I have access to. Somebody, named Slough, has made a preset, which is the default preset, which I will now switch to so that you can hear it when it loads. Are you going to load? Thank you. So this is no longer my preset. This is just called Ravenscroft 275. So it's the default, and you can customize it. And using complete control keyboard, as you know before, I have this keyboard, which you can see on the video. And there are knobs, 8 knobs, but there are more than 8 parameters that you can customize, as we've seen previously. So the first thing I can change is the release volume. If I turn the releases all the way down, it sounds so fake. But then if you have it too high, it's too much. So you want a happy medium. Pedal noise, next one. Even at its maximum, it's quite quiet, but it is there. It's more prominent than it was a minute ago. Pedal noise. The next one is key noise. Now, I must confess that I don't know if all of these do what I think they do, and some of them seem a little ambiguous. Key noise, for example, when I've turned it all the way up, doesn't feel like it does anything. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't. The next one is repetition strikes. And again, something that doesn't feel like it does anything either. Then silent strikes that we talked about before. I'm playing that as soft as I can. But in my preset, because I changed the velocity curve, it seems like they do more when the silent strikes are turned up. Should I turn them down? Nope, not sure. And then tone. Stereo width and then tone. So stereo width, of course, the width of the sound. Now it's all mono. If you are unsure, by the way, all the videos I do on this channel are in stereo. So if you've been listening out of your little Android or iPhone speaker and you've not noticed that, plug it into a decent set or watch on your computer with good speakers, because you're going to get the full depth of these videos. So I've turned the stereo width up all the way now. It's quite wide, isn't it, when you do it like that? It's less wide now. It's almost full wideness. So it's nice to have this kind of level of customization over a piano. Really nice. Now it's full again. Let's turn the tone all the way to the left. And we'll turn it up and play. And it gets very kind of nasally. Now it's kind of like a nasty pop piano. I wouldn't have it like that unless you really needed it like that, although it's not terrible. I mean, if you want to do that sort of music. Although I think if you're going to do that, you need to drop down an octave. And if you play it very hard, it actually clips. Look at this. So that's because the tone is far too harsh. Turn it down. Where it is now, it sounds like a Yamaha piano, actually. It's very interesting. But it's nice, as I said, to have all of these controls. So page 2. Now this is where it gets interesting. Timbre shift. From what I understand, and somebody please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but timbre shift actually changes where the piano sounds like a piano. So if I play a C major chord, and if I turn this all the way to the left, the samples are playing in the wrong part of the instrument. And if I keep playing that and keep turning this knob here, now it begins to sound a bit like a sort of demented digital harpsichord. So not a piano anymore. But that doesn't mean to say that if you slap it in reverb or with a delay or something, that you can't turn it into a non-piano, into a sort of strange instrument that you don't want to use, because why not? Remember, in music like this, there are only the rules that you yourself set. So if you want yourself a digital demented harpsichord on a piano, then so be it. So let's turn the timbre shift. I think that's where it was. It's hard to know, you know. I'd have to reload the preset from scratch. But anyway, I'm just going to carry on. Let's see how much we can mess it up at the end of the day, just for fun. Right, now we get to the microphone positions, choices, sorry. And there are, I think, 4 of them, or 3 of them, I can't remember. So the first one is the close microphone. That's the microphones that are closest, I think, to the piano. And you can load or unload them, or turn the volume on and up and down, or turn them on and off, which means that they're still in memory but not loaded. So I will unload them, and as we go along, and then we'll try and show you what they all sound like together. So the next one is player load unload. So this is the player microphone. So from player position. Quite nice, really. So I'll unload those now. And room load unload, and these are microphones I think further back in the room. On the website all of this is very clearly explained. I'm not doing a good job because I forgot all of the information. I'm more of just a player person than the knowing all the technical stuff necessarily. But these microphones are not inside the piano anymore. I think they are further back in the room. And you can obviously combine and turn them up and down and make them fit your different whatever you want situations. Side microphones next. Oh, the room didn't go away. Hold on. Why didn't you go away, room? All right, there we go. Side volumes. Again, I think more microphones in the piano at the side this time. Now, if you think that's a bit quiet, then play louder or turn the volume up on the mics that you want in particular. So there's all that customization there. Right. Then there's an unicorda set of mics, which I can't show you because I don't think... I think it's bound to a controller pedal, and my expression pedal is not set for that. I think it would be CC2 or something, and my expression pedal is CC11. So as you hear, it turns the volume up and down under my left foot. So you can have piano with a tremolo, because everybody needs that in their lives, right? So yeah, can't do that. What else is there? There's muted note, which again is something I can't seem to make work. I don't know what it does. Probably another control with a pedal. And there's half pedaling. My keyboard doesn't seem to support half pedaling quite that way. Then there's unicorda pedal, so I guess you can change the controllers used for that, half pedaling, sostenuto pedaling. 2 half pedaling controls that say exactly the same thing, so I'm not sure what that does. Muted notes con, polyphony, velocity amount, velocity sense, resonance volume. So if I play like that, turn up the resonance all the way, and then I can play... So I've got C, G, C held down in my left hand, and because if I play notes that are related to that, like harmonically related, if I let go of them, play them again, then the resonance rings out. And that's clever. Lots of pianos get that wrong or just don't include it at all. So if I turn the resonance all the way down, interesting, resonance volume doesn't seem to do anything, but it does in fact work. At least you know it's there. Or is that the pedal resonance, actually? Yes, that might be because... Okay, my bad, my mistake. This is when you have the sustain pedal down and you play notes. There is sympathetic resonance in another knob further down the keyboard. So here's a chord without the pedal down. And with the pedal down, then the whole piano rings out. They've been doing that for years. But sympathetic resonance, that's what I was messing with before. So I have that. I've turned that all the way down, and I've still got the held down. Can't hear it. Turn up the sympathetic resonance all the way. And that happens. So, yeah, you can customize a good bit of stuff here. Harmonic polyphony, and then reverb. Now, the reverb I can show you. It's a wet-dry mix, so when it's all the way to the left, it's dry. The more you turn it to the right, it's wet, and all the way to the right is very wet. And then there's an IR type knob, which goes through different types of rooms, or at least IRs, impulse responses for the curious. And now, unfortunately, I can't tell you the names of these because my keyboard doesn't tell me what they actually are. But I'm sure that they'd be Googleable/searchable with your search engine of choice if you care to know. There's a good few here, so I won't go through all of them. But the fact is that you get nice reverb in the plugin itself if you want it. If you don't want it, turn the reverb all the way to dry and then use your own choices. But it's there if you do, so that's nice. I'm not going to lie. The more I play this piano, the more I like it. It's fantastic. It's just full of wonderful things. There are a couple of other options on this thing that I really am unsure of after the reverb. I will tell you the names of them if I can. MIDI remap, I think, is the next one. Min point, max point, bass tune, X fade value, crossfade value. And maybe the bass tune is... Yes, okay, you can tune the piano. So careful with that. Now, since I've screwed up this preset so very much, let's just go back to my preset by pressing the down cursor on the keyboard, the down arrow. Now I have my own piano back. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of another video. But I do hope that you have enjoyed this little trek through mad space. That is to say, the Logic session horns. I said it, I didn't mean to say that. Studio horns and auto drummer and Ravenscroft 275 piano, which I think is a gorgeous instrument. And if you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments as always, so that I can answer them for you, because I want to be able to help you out and answer questions. I at least try to. Anyway, yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine on WhatsApp, and he said I should always end, if I'm not going to be talking about a song breakdown, with a particular track that I showed him. So I'm going to do what he said and end with this track called Latino Bottle, which takes the sound of a water bottle and then makes a track out of it, or with it. So with that in mind, please like, subscribe and share, and I will speak to you again soon. Thank you for watching.